Welcome to Kaks Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon. And we're rolling. I'm here today with Chris Wipf. Chris Wipf is awesome, comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. That's what I meant to say. He's performed at we've had the honor of having you perform at our Laughs at Kaks Comedy show multiple times now. Love your energy. Love your comedic talents, skills, premises of your jokes, delivery, storytelling. Can't say enough good things about you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're definitely like a seasoned pro as far as I can see. And then when you told me you only been doing it 3 years, I'm a bit shocked because like it's you don't seem nervous at all up there. I don't feel any nervous energy from you, and I don't know, you're fucking funny, man.
Well, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So yeah, Chris, I'm just gonna get right into like getting to know you a little bit. Like, how'd you start in comedy?
Yeah. So do you want like the long or the short?
Wow, we're doing a podcast. You can
I'll
tell
give
it
it
however you want.
So I was probably 16 or 17 years old. I had a very bad track records of having like vehicles. So like I bought my first one off my parents,
and you hit like crashing vehicles.
No. I've never crashed a vehicle. I've only ever had vehicles just like crap out on me.
Oh, okay. Crap out on you. Okay.
And so I had my first one crap out, had my second one crap out, and I got to my third vehicle.
What cars were these?
So the first one was a Yukon XL 2001. Second one was a 2003 GMC Envoy, and the third one was a Lincoln. I forgot the exact. I bought it off a buddy, and it was like it had like over 300,000 on the dash. There was like 10 things wrong with it.
Keep going.
So I bought it, and when I bought it, he didn't tell me like anything that was wrong with it. He's just like, "Look, $500 and it's yours." So I bought it, and it didn't have a working Bluetooth. It didn't have a working radio. The only thing that it had was working AM radio. Yeah, no worries.
Keep going.
So it had working AM radio, and it would only work on some channels. Mm-hmm. And it was just lucky enough for me that one of the channels that worked was 1060 AM, which was at the time the Comedy Network.
Okay.
So it'd play like stand-up comedy clips, and it was a really bad radio. So I heard like only half of them. It was really muffled. You couldn't really make out what they were saying. But that's all I had.
Used to play that on his car. I didn't even know like that. There's a station just for stand-up comedy.
There was. I heard recently that it got taken down, or not taken down, but like they just like discontinued it. I know Sirius XM is big on for like comedy radio.
Yeah.
But that's all I had was that like channel essentially.
Okay.
Because there's nothing good on AM radio.
Yeah. That's kind of. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Go on.
And so I had that. I started listening to stand up all the time, and then I had as an alarm clock because we didn't have Wi-Fi in my house because I lived out like just outside of town. So I just had like
just outside of Calgary, you mean?
Just outside of Airdrie.
Airdrie. Okay.
Yeah.
Where exactly here? Just so I can get a. Or do you not want to say?
I could say it's near the rodeo grounds, the Airdrie rodeo grounds.
Okay.
So it's just out of the west side of Airdrie.
Okay.
Probably like 10 minutes out.
Is it a town?
No. It's like just on an acreage.
Okay. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't have Wi-Fi, and so I just had a radio alarm clock. And I was like, you know what? I'm listening to this AM radio all the time anyways. I set my AM to it. So I'd wake up at like 6 in the morning and just lay in bed and listen to radio for like an hour. And it just happened to be comedy. And so I was listening to probably, if I'm counting to like driving to school and driving to work and everything like that, I was listening to like 2 hours of comedy a day. And I was just listening. And then finally, when I was 20, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to a stand-up show. I'd love to see one live. So I went to go to Comedy Monday night. I went there. It was great. It was fantastic. I still know all the comics that were on it, like verbatim. I know exactly who they were. I know exactly the jokes they told. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. And so the next week, I reached out to do it, and I was booked in for my first set, and it was supposed to be March 20th of 2020.
Okay.
And then that week, the entire world shut down.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't get to do it, but I had 5 minutes written.
Yeah.
And so I had to wait till actually 9/11 of September.
Uh-huh.
That was when I got my first set in, was September 11th, 2020. And then I did a set. the next week, and then everything shut down for like another 5-6 months. Cool. And then I've just been doing it straight.
How'd those first sets go?
First one was okay. Second one was less than okay. They were both at a place called Mill Street back when it was around.
Were they in Calgary?
Yeah, they were both
like Mill Street Brewery?
Yeah, on 17th.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sweet, cool. It sounds like you accidentally hypnotized yourself into becoming a comedian because you basically said you only have one radio choice, and then you have to sleep and have to have an alarm, and then so you're waking up to comedy, and then you're kind of like listening to only comedy because all you have, and then it's almost like you're like, I'm a comedian.
Kind of, but the thing is like even when I went to that first show, I wasn't even thinking like, oh, I want to do this. I was more so thinking like, oh, it'd be so cool to see this thing that I listen to all the time, and see it live. And then the second I saw it live for the first time, I was like, oh, I need to do this.
Okay.
It was just like, I don't know what it was. It was like an addiction.
Yeah. Did you were you funny growing up then? Like did people always laugh and like kind of told you, hey man, like, oh, you should do this and stuff, or was it just something you knew?
I think I was funny. I think like I like to look back and think that I was funny. I think I for sure had to be. But I don't know if I was as funny as I think I was. You know what I mean? Like, you know how you like remember back to your childhood and you're like, oh, this was great. And then you like actually think about it and you're like, well,
yeah. I mean, like I remember, I made everyone in my family always laugh, but it wasn't because I was necessarily writing quality jokes as a 10-year-old, just being goofy. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it was.
Yeah. Like, but I guess were you like the entertaining one, or were you like recluse? Because a lot of the comics that I've been doing podcasts with, they all have such interesting how they fell into it, and it's like so much different paths, man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was. I feel like I was always like very extroverted, especially like when I got into band in like the 6th grade. Like my band teacher. When I got to high school, was like pushing me to like do solos and stuff, and that helped me like build my extrovertedness and my confidence that way.
What'd you play?
Trombone.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then I was doing like public speaking growing up through. Do you know what 4-H is?
No.
Kind of like the Boys and Girls Club, but for like agriculture kids.
Okay.
And so as part of your like 4-H year, like so I did like welding and like small engine repair and stuff like that. But then like you'd meet with like the rest of the members of your club and you'd do like public speaking events, and you'd do like charity stuff, and you'd like do community service, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of public speaking that way. So I was on a stage, I was speaking a lot, and I was entertaining, but I really never put those together until like literally the first time I was like on a stage doing comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you obviously, like when no one's around, you're okay. Let me ask you this: like, are you silly in your own mind when no one's around?
Now now it's too much. It's like there's times I wish I could turn it off.
Yeah, it's
like somebody will be telling me about something terrible, and I'm just like, well, it's bad, but here's how this could be funny.
Yeah. I can absolutely relate to that. No, I just like in my mind, I mean, it's you can this thing should never be. Like, you know how X-Men, like Professor X has that fucking helmet that, that like, Cerebro or whatever. I'm like, no one wears Cerebro on my head.
Literally.
Like, you're going to see how I'm just goofing off all the time in here, but, Yeah. No, but that's super awesome. And then you just kept with it. Like you obviously had something off the jump, I would imagine, right? Cause if you had a couple of bad sets off the jump, wouldn't you just be like, this isn't for me. I tried it,
Well, the thing is the first time you do it, even from people I know that have done bad for their first time, they kind of still do it because there's like it's almost like a rush that you get getting up on stage. Yeah. Like even just like being up there, especially my first time, I can remember it clearly, just getting up there and telling jokes, even the stuff that didn't land, it did feel very fun to be up there. Mm-hmm. But my first really bad set, I remember literally like driving home that night. And I called my girlfriend and I was just like, I don't know if comedy's for me. Like I was like, it was like one bad set and I was like, I think I have to quit this whole thing.
Oh shit.
Because that feeling is like the complete opposite. It's literally like you go in and you're like, oh, it's been so good, these great feelings, and then you expect those and it feels like you just got hit in the gut. Like,
yeah. I've never done stand up. So
you totally should.
Yeah, no. I don't even have like I can't think of Anyway, no. I really don't think that's my path. Yeah, like it's like my I'm just a silly guy that likes to riff on the fly, like talking to people. But to put together a set, it's like for me anyway. I can't see people laughing at what I think is actually funny. Like when it comes to like trying to do the same riffing that I do casually with friends, like into a set because I don't know. There's just a lot of like I would have to perform to only like gym bros. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, like because that's what I've been told anyway. Like my sister and brother growing up, they're always like, like they were kind of nerdier, and then they said you're unofficially the early phases of toxic masculinity or some shit. So they didn't have the
intervention.
Yeah, well, they didn't have the verbiage for it, but Yeah, no, and have you heard of Brendan Schaub?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so like, okay, I used to be a huge Brendan Schaub fan. Like, I followed his MMA career because I'm a huge combat sports fanatic. Like that's probably my first super passion. But when Brendan started diving into the comedy, I remember I love his podcast, like The Fighter and the Kid. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't think his stand-up's good at all.
You know, I don't think anyone does.
Oh, shit.
I think it's pretty widely like agreed that like his podcast is fun because you get to see like that other side of him that's like not in the ring and whatnot, obviously.
Yeah.
Or not in the octagon, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like some people I don't think are that good at stand-up. And some people are so good on like podcasts or like other forms of media. But like it's the same way that like I don't think that every comic is probably good on a podcast. The same, I don't think that every podcaster is good as a comic.
Right, exactly.
And like you were saying about you, like you like.
I'd be Brendan Schaub. I'd be Brendan Schaub if I tried stand up. It'd be horrible. Like I'm good like this.
But then you get to meet Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan's good. Joe Rogan's actually good at stand up.
Yeah, but if you're Brendan Schaub, you get to meet him.
Yeah. No. That'd be insane if I could meet Joe. That would probably be.
It would be crazy. I think
that'd be crazy, and like that'd be just a gem of a day. I mean,
is that somebody you think you get actually like starstruck by? Do you think that would happen to you?
I think I have so much admiration for Joe Rogan. Like he's literally my unofficial. Like I never met him, big bro, right? Like I like whenever I have problems in life, I just think of like, what would Jesus do? But I put Joe.
What would Rogan do?
Yeah,
what would Joe do? It still works with the WWJ.
Exactly. But also half my family hates Joe Rogan, and so it's like. I'm kind of on my own with. I understand what he's doing. I know he's a good guy. But they have half my family's just like the whole vax thing, just because. Anyway, but I don't want to dive into that. That's not what this is about.
No, totally,
anyway, yeah, and plus I don't know your politics on all that. But no, but Brendan Schaub, when I watch his stand up, I'm like that would be me. That would be me. Because I have actually behind the scenes tried it with some friends. Like when I'm like, hey, do you guys think this is like good? And they're like, that's not a good story. Like unless it was the way. You were in the bar telling it with friends. Like now that you tell it, you sound like a complete asshole. And I was like, oh.
But there are asshole comics. Like
I'm a nice guy, Chris.
No,
I don't actually want to be
like,
an asshole.
when you look at like Anthony Jeselnik's a great example of this.
Yes,
he's very much come out and said like, look, what I do on stage is like me doing a character. That's my act.
It better be.
And like he's so like off stage, he seems like a perfectly nice guy.
Yeah. His bit on stage better be an act.
Yeah, because there's dropping babies and stuff.
Yeah, otherwise that's a sociopath walking around. Actually, that like I'm not ready to name the guy's name, but in time we will because like I'm warming up to the guy. But yeah, it was like that was what happened with me with a certain performer at Laughs at Kaks. I couldn't tell he was joking, and like the bits were the Anthony Jeselnik style. You might know who he is right now, but and it was just. But I was like, hey, like I know Anthony Jeselnik's joking, but with that person at that time, I was really concerned that I'm going to be affiliated with someone who actually went and did all this dark stuff, right? So then I was like, until I know that that's a joke, it's like, and then later on I found out it truly was joking around. And then I was like, okay, like, but I don't know how you're going to
scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
And it's scary as a venue owner too.
Yeah.
It's just like I know it's like because I've run shows in the past. Mm-hmm. I run one right now, but like in the past, especially when I was doing like open mics and stuff, and there's people that I've never met and they're like, hey, can I come do a spot? On an open mic, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I've guest hosted shows where like somebody comes for the first time and they like go up and they say a slur on stage or like stuff like that. Yeah. And I like from a hosting perspective, I'm always like, it's rough to get it back. But from a venue perspective, my God, it's gotta be so much scarier.
Well, there was consequences. I'll tell you that much. Like literally, there was like customers that literally wrote in like, we're not coming here anymore.
Yep.
I was like, are you serious? I was like, that was a comedy night. He's like, I don't care. I don't want to be affiliated with. XYZ. I'm like, he was telling a joke. Yeah. At least I think. Then I'm more like, actually, I felt like I couldn't tell either. And then I started asking others, like, how do you guys feel about that? And they're like, I couldn't tell he was joking. And I was like, shit, okay, we got a problem here. Yeah. We got to figure out if legit this guy is like, just imagine Anthony Jeselnik, but we couldn't tell he was joking.
Well, that's the thing.
Then we're like, okay, we have a hate speech. Fuck.
Yeah, literally.
Crazy guy, So I don't know, man.
You start getting a lot more guys into the bar, but they're all like really short haircuts,
Yeah.
They all drive motorcycles. It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Hold on, that one kind of flew over my head. What do you?
That was a skinhead joke.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Not to say that I don't know specifically who you're talking about, so I don't know exactly what the content was.
This guy dressed like he literally was one of the Columbine kids.
Jesus.
That's why I was like, that's why I was sitting there like, is this actually?
Oh, I think I might know who it is.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you off air.
I won't say the name, but if it's who I think it is, was it very over the top?
I don't know. I just couldn't tell he was joking, and he's basically saying gnarly stuff. That's
he,
all. Like,
is he blonde?
No.
Okay, it's not who I think.
No,
okay.
no.
Okay, so it's not who I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
but,
Chris, I'll tell you off air.
Okay,
Like right now, but just know, like, it's like, yeah, like, you know, like that. Yeah, that did happen. Anyway, I lost track of. We were talking about something else before we segued into.
I think we were kind of talking about.
Anyway, this person's actually awesome, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
he's performing again. So I'm eventually he'll be on the pod here. I'm just waiting to. I think he's mad at me, so I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, you're gonna give it a couple weeks.
Yeah. Because you know, like, but
actually, it does bring up kind of an interesting point that I think about a lot, especially when I started out in comedy, because Anthony Jeselnik was like one of the people who I was like, oh, this guy's great. I really like his sense of humor. I like the misdirect. I like the dark
misdirect.
humor.
I like that word verbiage. Yeah, intentional misdirecting.
Yeah. But when I first started, I was like, oh, okay, what makes Anthony Jeselnik funny is how edgy he is. And so when I started writing stuff, a lot of it was just like, how edgy can I be? And I think a lot of, especially, I see it a lot with dude comics. I've never seen a very edgy female comedian, especially one that's starting out. But I've said a lot of dude comics who start out and they'll go super edgy, like way too much. But then you kind of realize after you've been doing it enough that Anthony Jeselnik's not funny because he's edgy. He's funny because he's really good at getting a story going and then completely taking you where you're not expecting. Like he could do clean humor with that style and it would still be.
It's just what you just said. He's misdirect. He can do clean humor. You just nailed it. He's a misdirect guy. Like just when you think it's this and that, and then when you think, oh, he's done it 1,000 times, no way he can get me this time. I get you again. So that's a genius. That's some kind of human observer genius guy.
Yeah.
Chris, quick question. Like,
Absolutely.
Aren't there rooms? I was told there's rooms called like dark rooms where it's not going to be published. No one can put any social media plugs on it. It's all word of mouth, and it's clubs where you can tell as edgy of a joke as you want. And it's invite only, and it's like, and it's designed to like, well, they make money very little because it's such a small crowd that gets invited, and then there's like a ticket sale that do go to the comics. But I was told there was like these, and they call them dark rooms. Like are those real things?
So I've heard of like dark and dirty rooms.
Dark and dirty.
Like Just for Laughs has like a dark and dirty show.
Okay.
But I think that there's a difference between those and like more like edgy rooms. And there are edgy rooms, but those ones are usually like everybody knows about them.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Well, no, when I say everybody, I mean in the comics circles.
Dude, tell me right now. Sorry, keep that thought.
Yeah.
Do you smell like bacon and stuff right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
we're not having a stroke. We're good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Must be the chef's cooking, and our HVAC has been, and our heating, it's been this wonky, weird. I gotta figure this out. I thought it was figured out already. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind the smell. Right now
it's great.
It's great. Actually, it's just getting me hungry as fuck.
I know. I feel like.
But anyway, okay. Carry on with your story.
There are for sure like not like, I guess it is kind of like actually marketed as like edgy rooms.
Yeah.
Where, and I'm not going to say the names of the rooms.
Yeah,
but,
of course. That's the whole point. It's literally like Fight Club. You can't tell anyone. It's all word of mouth, but you get to see unhinged, but unhinged comedy in these rooms was just normal comedy in the 80s, it seems.
Sometimes. Sometimes it's just like, I think there's still probably things you probably didn't joke about in the 80s. I mean, I was never around, but
I don't know, man, because back then there's no social media. So it's all like word of mouth about what someone said. But nowadays
that's true too.
It's like people are like you said that, don't pretend like you didn't say that. You're like, fuck.
Do you think that's what the big reason for them would be, is that people are worried that they're going to like,
I think so. I think back in the day, there's an element of mystery because, most things aren't videoed. Like seeing images was, you had to wait for it to be on TV or on a video cassette. Like I'm old, I'm 38. So like I was from the era of VHSs, I'm ancient. And it's like, so back then there was this mystery and you can't, and then you couldn't tell there was just a mystery there. But now it's like everything's video recorded. So people there's video evidence you said that. But back then there was a myth. You didn't quite know, and even afterwards you don't know because you weren't there. It's like, and then what was allowed to be released was always cleaned up enough,
and it was always edited.
Yeah, exactly. But now things are so off the cuff, and but I don't know. I believe things should be freely off the cuff. I want the real experience. I don't want to be like.
Well, I agree. I think that like watching a stand-up special is cool and all, but like watching stand-up live is it's so much better. Like even
energy, right? You feel it, right?
Even bad stand-up. Like I like to watch bombing. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I don't know what it is. I like to enjoy watching people bomb. And it's
were you here for the Matt Santos night?
I wasn't, but I did hear about it.
Oh, okay. I made a pod about it. Sorry, Matt. Again, like, come on, man. Like, that night was legendary. Now, like, we can all laugh it off. Like, yeah, no, but go on.
Yeah. So, like, the Great Outdoor Fest came to Calgary this summer.
Yeah.
I won tickets in a comedy competition to go, and I went on one of the nights. And one of the openers, I forget who it was, but she had 30 minutes. Okay, and she's not like
30 minutes. Holy shit!
And she was the opener.
That's an opener. Wow.
Headliner was an hour.
Okay.
It was a long show. It was like 2 hours long.
Okay, but still, like an opener getting 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's only like 5 comics. Then it sounds like.
Yeah, it was like 4 comics.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So the opener had half an hour, and she bombed start to finish. And it was to the point where, like, she was making fun of some dude's dead wife, and every time she did it like 7 times.
Okay, is this a pro though?
Yo, she's a pro. No, she's a pro.
Was she trying new shit for some reason?
I don't know because I haven't seen any of her stuff before. But everybody at my table and the tables around me, because it's like 6,000 people, you can hear people groan. They're not liking it, and I'm dying laughing because.
What are you laughing at? Just the misfortune, or like actually...
There's something about watching somebody bomb. It sucks watching a video of it. When you're watching it live, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is a little bit like psychopathic of me. But
Chris, by the way, don't pull the plug.
Sorry.
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
Maybe it is a little bit psychopathic of me, but I don't know what it is. I think a lot of other comics don't like to say it, but they do like to watch people bomb.
Well, Conan O'Brien, I think, said it on. He wrote the joke, I think, on The Simpsons, where he's like, "It's funny when it doesn't happen to you."
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's exactly. So you're just sitting there like, but then it might happen to you one day. Well, I doubt for you.
No, I bomb
on fire.
When I bomb, I bomb.
I've not seen him bomb once at Laughs at Kaks.
It's a good room. So, yeah. It's a good room. It's hard to bomb at. It's
a different room. It's like we're not a true comedy club per se. You know, we are a bar, restaurant, podcast bar, new concept with a high ass ceiling. So it's like there's a different element to it, and you know, we don't really have a stage as you've seen. We just kind of throw you in this our graffitied. Pier there, the pier, but the pier of inappropriate comments.
You know, it does make it easy or hard to bomb here. I always say though, it's that you can see everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when you can see people, I've noticed this at a lot of rooms. If you can see people,
you can adjust.
Kind of, but also they can see you and know that you can see them, and so they're like, "Oh, this person can see if I'm not laughing. I gotta laugh." I think that people feel a little bit more pressured to. It's a weird kind of dynamic. Where because especially with this room, there's like people like 5 feet in front of you. Yeah. If you tell a joke, it's very obvious you're waiting for the punchline, and the person at the front table, they feel weird if they're not laughing, so they start to laugh, and then people behind are like, "Oh, this person's laughing. It must be funny. I've got to laugh now."
Fuck, dude, I never thought of that.
It's almost psychology.
I just do whatever I want over here, regularly, because me and Cass own the place, and I'm just here for comedy. I'm just hearing the jokes. Like I'm up close because I want front row.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I didn't realize there might be the nervous laughter factor.
I think there for sure is, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that because like if it helps because people are really into the stuff that they're into, and if they're not as into it, I think you still get kind of a nervous laugh here. Where if you're at like a club where it's really dark, which is I like it when it's really dark. I like to be able to kind of just feel it out and hear it out. But if it's really dark and something doesn't go over well and nobody laughs.
You can't even see the reaction.
You can't even see the reaction. I think people feel a little bit better
there,
now.
Hey? Just because it's dark with the light on the stage, you literally can't see the crowd. Hey?
Yeah, sometimes you can literally only see like at the Laugh Shop, it's like an elevated stage. So you're probably like probably this high off the ground, and the front row is literally against the stage. So you can see them, and you really can't see anybody else unless you cover the light.
That's fucking weird.
And
I actually
like
never. Thanks for educating me on that. Like I've never actually stood on the stage and looked into the crowd. I've been in the crowd at like Yuck Yucks and stuff, had a good time. And again, yeah, you're right. Like the guy probably couldn't see. Well, then how do they gauge how they're doing? Just off the sound of laughter? You
kind of have to, sound or the people up front. That like you can kind of see like the first row, and so you can kind of gauge off that.
So what do you prefer then? You prefer to see the people or like dark?
I like a little bit of both. The Perfect Club, my favorite.
About sex? No.
No, I don't like to see people at all. I just like to close my eyes and hope till it ends. No, my favorite club, my favorite place to perform actually in the world is Lethbridge, Alberta. Weirdly enough,
okay.
The club in Lethbridge is called Good Times.
Yeah,
it seats like 80 to 100 people. It's a super low ceiling. It's like way lower than this room even. Jesus. It's probably lower than the windows here. It's a very low
6 foot ceiling.
Yeah, it's a basement.
Oh my god. Okay.
And it's right now it's just got string lights around the top.
Yeah.
But it gets nice and dark, so you can see everybody kind of. You can see
sounds
them.
like an old school real comedy.
Oh, it's great. It's the best. And
There's
like
a brick wall behind
yeah,
you.
they've got a brick wall.
That was the way comedy clubs were in for like 30, 40 years before.
And the basements are great. I love a good basement show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a perfect room, and you can kind of make out what people like. You can see the shapes of people, but you can't really see them super well.
Yeah,
I think that's perfect because you can see them. You can kind of gauge that reaction that way. You can kind of see body language, but you're also not like too distracted by all the different looking people.
And does the dark rooms make the crowd more quiet, kind of like they're watching a movie almost?
Kind of depends. If it's a place like if it's a small town, I would say that the dark helps people laugh because a lot of times with like small town shows, a lot of people know each other. And if
you don't want people to know you're laughing at whatever.
Yeah, you kind of notice that. Like especially if you tell something that's a little bit edgier of a joke, you'll see that some people just won't laugh. But if those lights are turned down, they probably would laugh. But they don't want to get judged for laughing by people that they know, especially like if it's like coworkers going out. Like coworkers who are out together never laugh.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Like these corporate gigs that everyone's been telling me about. I'm like, I mean, I've never got a chance to see one, but I mean, the old oil and gas company I worked for, like, no way I'd be showing my cards, if you will, because like one time I showed my cards at a company Christmas party, I fucking got in trouble. Like the following Monday, I'm like, what the hell's the point of this then? Thought we were allowed to let loose. Yeah, and I saw fucking Jerry over there, like saying whatever. Oh, but Jerry's fucking high up in the company, so he gets to be himself. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's exactly why I got it, that fucking shit. But our room though, we can't darken it anymore because like our server needs to like run around and literally get food out. So
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think we're just a different room.
Totally,
it's kind of like, hey, if you know you're performing at Kaks, it's kind of like I don't know. It's like a video game. It's like if every level was the same video game, then you would just do the same move every time. Yeah. But over here, it's like you got to adjust for the kill box setting as Kaylin taught me the terminology, like, and then mix it up with I can see you, and then mix it up with the I don't know, it makes you have to adjust all your skill sets, I would imagine. Totally. Like give you range, right?
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's a very good room in Calgary. I'm a Kaks truther, okay?
Okay, sick.
There's a lot of Thursday rooms. This is definitely on my top 1 or 2 for sure.
Sick. Fuck yeah.
It's a fun room. It's a fun room. There's a reason I do it.
Fuck right? Yeah. Well, thanks, Chris.
I don't like doing bad rooms. I like doing good rooms. I'm a simple man. I'm a simple man, Shawn.
Hey, thanks, man. And like, obviously, you see, we're trying to make improvements every week.
Totally. Like from the first, because I was here the second week.
Yeah.
And then I was here a couple weeks in a row, and then I was really busy last month, and I came again for the first time in like a month, and it was friggin' awesome. Like you guys have improved it so much. Yeah. And you're still improving it.
Yeah, we're always executing. That's a key thing. Like, like me and Kaylin, like Kaylin's taking the reins and doing all the heavy lifting. Obviously, it's his show out of our venue, and we help promote. But like, like fixing that sound issue finally. Like we're like speakers, Long McQuaid, wire, that's it. No more fucking around. Like now everyone can do their set start to finish without any cutting, I just get nervous when seeing people keep stepping on the wire though. That's what I'm like, okay, like because like that, like if you guys step on the wire in the middle, then the whole thing pops off, right? So
totally.
But I don't know, but the wire is the best. It's a direct connection. No one cuts off that, So maybe is that why like places like duct tape the shit of the mic underneath some? You know what I'm talking about? Like some places
some will do that. I honestly think that's more because their mics are just broken.
Oh,
okay. Like I've seen some weak microphone plugs in my time. Like there was one show I did where you literally had to hold it in your entire set. So you basically had to hold it with 2 hands, one on the cord going in and one on the mic.
Yeah.
And if you moved it even slightly, no sound.
Oh God! Well, that kind of was like our wireless setup for a bit there. But that one was interesting because I literally noticed like when Forrest was in here, like holy fuck, that guy's funny. Like
crazy.
Nothing glitched on him, and then the guy at the beginning, things were glitching left, right, and center. I swear, there's some kind of nervous energy shit that affects like signals transfer. Yep. Like I'm not a scientist. I don't know how to do a double-blind study on this, but for sure there is. Because the nervous guy, why is everything cutting out for him? And then when Forrest was loose and just like, bam, like nothing cut out on him. And also he was great mic technique. He was like holding it at a perfect angle. Everywhere he went, he knew to like, they moved like an arm for him. And I was just like, yes. But at the same time, at the end, we're still like, not everyone's going to be Forrest. So let's get the fucking chords,
Well, I think one of the big things too is like Forrest is, I think he's only like 5 or 6 years in, but he's been doing it. He might even be less, but he's been doing it so much. Like, he grinds so hard that like he's held the microphone probably 10 times as long as somebody who's in the same amount of time.
Isn't that the old adage? Practice makes perfect. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing.
But how often do you perform every week? Like quite a bit too, I would assume, right?
It really depends on the month. Last month I did the math. I was on stage for over 4 hours.
Okay. How many days a week is that? Average?
I was doing a lot of out of town stuff, so a lot of longer sets. But I think I was probably doing last month. I probably did 3 to 4 sets a week, but one of those sets every single week was 20 or 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Or there was one week where I did 5 30-minute sets.
Okay, I was talking to Spencer about this, but if you perform so often, then how do you have time to get material?
Last month I didn't.
Okay.
Straight up last month, I was literally, there wasn't a weekend that I wasn't out of town for comedy last month.
Okay.
And so last month I was like, you know what? I've got a lot of material. I'm just going to run the stuff I have out of town. People out here haven't heard it anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run all my stuff that I know works well.
Yeah.
And right now I don't have as much stuff booked this month. I think I've got like a couple gigs here and there. And so this month is just working on new stuff.
Okay. So like the working on new stuff, I know every comic has their different process, but you basically need time to experience things so that you can make fun of it.
Kind of.
Right? Or do you just go off of using your imagination and watching like TV or you know what I mean? Like, because think about it, if you work from 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, and on top of it, you're trying to do comedy every night to hone in your skills, like where's the time to actually get that life next thing you're poking fun at? Or do you just literally go on TikTok and be like, what's the current events and then how can I make this funny? Like,
I actually take an approach. It's kind of outside of all of those. I've even since I've started, I just keep a different note for every year on my phone, and I just write down ideas. Just ideas that if I find something funny in a day, if I chuckle at something, if I laugh at it, if I snorted it, I just literally write down what that idea is. If I have an idea for a joke, I write it down, and then like once or twice a week, I'll just sit down, I'll go through them, and I'll literally try and write something about every single one of them. From there, I probably get out of 100, I probably get 1 or 2 good ones. And then from there, I probably got one that I actually end up keeping.
Okay.
So it's a lot of elimination.
Is your phone just full of fucking chicken scratches? And
sometimes I'll go back and I'll, like if I've written out a joke and it hasn't worked, even though I've liked it, or for whatever reason I stopped doing it, I keep it in a note called the garbage pile. And then eventually I go through the garbage pile every now and then just to see if if I'm a better writer now than I was at the time.
Okay.
And then I go through and see. And there's some jokes that I like. My favorite bit to do is I call it the Martha bit. It's like a 7-minute joke.
Oh, yeah,
I wrote down the idea for it my first year doing comedy, and it sucked. And I tried it my second year, and it sucked. And it was like just this year that I was able to.
So why didn't you give up on it then? If it sucked, or do you knew there's something there? Because I love the Martha bit. By
Thank
the way.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've seen it probably, twice at least. I've seen it. You know. And I have the privilege of when I'm watching the comedy, because like if you notice, I sit like basically by myself, just like right in front, because I just literally am trying to actually, I don't know, I'm also exploring, right? Like because I'm like, yeah, I know I heard the joke, but like I was saying on the last podcast with Jesse, Spencer, and Kaylin, like I literally was that one because like I saw a lot of familiar faces. I'm like, hey, I already know he's gonna say this, he's gonna say this. I literally just like I was almost going in like Stevie Wonder style. I was kind of like put my hat down, close my eyes. I was like, how do I feel about it this time? Like, how's the comic making me feel? You know, that was what I was more dialed in on. No, but your Martha bit, like I was fucking like my cheeks were like, because like I don't know, like I love Office Space, that movie, and it kind of has that whole element of it. Yeah, and I can see it. And plus, like I used to work in a lot of shitty offices, and like there is like basically a Martha in my life.
Oh, yeah, so, there's one in everybody.
And like obviously the events in my life didn't occur in the bit.
No, totally. Yeah. But I feel like everybody has a part of that bit that they kind of enjoy. But like that bit was literally like a throwaway that hadn't worked the first time, it hadn't worked the second time, and this was like over 2 years. And then eventually I tried it out again, and I really enjoyed it. I was at that point in time when I really got it working, I was doing probably three spots a week, and I was just literally, instead of writing out the jokes at that time, I was literally just going on stage. I had the list of the premises, and I was just trying to riff on them on stage, and just see what premises were funny, and then write from there. And I really liked that premise, and I did a callback to it, but I didn't do the entire body of it. I did the beginning of the joke, which is like this bit about teenage dirtbag, and talking about how like Martha's better at my job than me or whatever. And then I did a callback to that, and nobody remembered it because I said the word Martha one time, and it was kind of a throwaway. And then like I asked my friends, like my comic friends, I was like, "Do you guys like that callback?" They're like, "We don't even know what you're talking about." And I just like went home and I just was like, "Fine, you want to remember the name? I'm going to make you remember the name." And then I wrote this entire 7-minute bit, and it's the ramblings of an insane man, really.
Well, like the way I see it, again, like take my opinion
No, totally.
with absolutely no fucking merits because I'm not a comedian, but I just know for me, I love the bit like from start to finish. Like it's almost like it's just a great story. But that's the thing, it's a story that requires everyone to pay attention, right?
Totally.
So I'm like sitting here like, okay, what if like because what if you go in a room, everyone's just hammered. Like it's like they're not gonna be able to follow that because their attention span's short. So it's like, do you just observe the crowd a bit and be like, hey, like literally like a weapon, like you got your handgun, your machine gun, your knife. You're like, hey, I want to use my machine gun today, but oh wait, this is more of a subtle knife fucking crowd. You know, like
Totally.
like do you adjust to seeing how the crowd is? Because like that Martha bit, I know would like it does kill, but it would kill even more if like say it was done at like I don't know, fucking bunch of people just having one beer over a fucking barbecue, right? You know,
Believe
versus
it or
people
not,
10 beers deep, like front, you know, near front row, right?
believe it or not, that bit works better on drunker people.
Really? Okay.
And the reason is I agree with you because it's a story bit. With a lot of stories, if people aren't paying attention, it's done. It's dead in the water.
Yeah.
But with this one, because it's loud enough that it keeps people's attention.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to the same central idea, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Martha
you
is
hammer
behind
home.
it all.
Yeah, you hammer
Every
it all.
single time I
Yeah,
say
don't give it
Martha,
away. Don't
people
give
are
it away.
dying. Well, that's okay. I've done it enough times that I feel like if people are watching this and haven't seen me do that bit, I think there's maybe 1% of people.
Okay. Well, still, I still think it's a nice little surprise.
But
But
that bit, I feel like people, the people who get into it are wanting to have some fun.
yeah.
And so drunk crowds really, really enjoy it because they don't have to pay that much attention. They just
Well, there's a lot of theatrics too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You know? And then like like you obviously dude, I'm like I don't know why am I tiptoeing. I'm not this fucking woke guy. Like no, like, you look the part to tell the story. Like you have a fun presence with the way you're telling the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it'd be different if actually wait a minute, let me think about it. I was trying to think for a second. I'm like, what if there was like a guy dressed like a Mormon basically telling that same story? Like would I have the same? Yeah, actually, I don't know. Actually, okay, never mind. Answer my own question. It's a funny story with a funny premise, actually.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd like to see somebody else try it. You know what I mean? Just so I can see if I could do it differently. Because I've tried that bit. Like I've probably done it on stage. I would say 50 times.
Dude,
I've done that bit.
It kills for me anyway because the way you tell it, like again, okay, don't give it away, but it's a fictional story, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
100%.
Because I'm doing
I do have people who are like, I've had something similar like that happen to me. I'm like, no, you haven't. But I didn't even.
The way you tell it is like with their facial reaction and the passion. I'm like, oh, like this happened to him. That's why I'm kind of like, but like I said earlier, like I have a Martha in my life, and I'm kind of like that's how fucking riled up I get when I think about that shit.
Well, the thing is, I think that it starts out very realistic, right? It starts out with like, who has a coworker that kind of sucks, right?
And fucking gets the promotion.
Yeah, exactly. And like, who doesn't have a story of somebody getting a promotion like that? You know what I mean? And so everyone is kind of bought in at first, and I usually like it's probably one of the weirder bits I have. And I usually don't get it. Like if I'm doing a longer set, I usually don't get into any like super weird stuff until after that bit. And so from that bit, starting out, people are like, "Oh, this guy's just a regular stand-up comic. He's telling regular stand-up jokes and talking about his family and stuff. So this is probably just talking about a promotion or something like that." And then it gets so crazy so quickly.
Oh yeah, it escalates.
That I think it really gets people into it.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like but a big part of it though, you have to have heard the song "Teenage Dirtbag." Like
oh, of course. Well, even I mean, I sing it at the beginning to kind of get it.
I love that song, by the way.
And like, I've ruined that song for myself.
Oh man, like it's
on my playlist. I skip it every time.
Oh, just because you overheard it too many times.
Oh yeah,
dude, it's one of the best songs ever. But
it's fantastic.
I'm surprised you listened to it because you're 23. That was something that I listened to when I was like 19, I think. Yeah. So I'm 15 years old. So you're 4 and you're listening to Teenage Dirtbag?
No, fun fact. I learned about that song when I was 20 years old.
That was only 3 years ago. Okay. Yeah. Did you see the movie?
There's a movie?
Oh, well, it's not based on it, but sorry. Okay, have you seen American Pie?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the main actor, what's his fucking name now?
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name.
I used to know his name because he was. Is it Jason Biggs? Does that
That
sound
sounds right? Like it
okay,
sounds.
so if it's Jason, either way, the main character of American Pie, there's a movie. It's about basically teenage dirtbag, but there's no references to
To Wheatus?
The no, not Wheatus, the Iron Maiden. Like,
Yeah.
but it is about a dork who gets trying to get fit his college life in it's chaos, and then he has a love interest, and the love interest is actually the girl also from American Pie who was in American Beauty.
Yeah.
The blonde chick.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
so
about.
like I forget what this movie's called. I can show you after, but the entire movie, like Teenage Dirtbag, was the main song. It was on the soundtrack. That song was made for that film, or that film made the film and then took that song. But like, yeah, it was, but it wasn't it was a B-level movie for sure. It wasn't.
I love a good B-level movie.
Okay, I'll find it for you like right after. Like this is where if I had a young Jamie, I'd be like, Jamie, pull it up. But I'm just looking at an empty chair, so there's no young Jamie here. And we're back. I had to. People watching this aren't going to notice it's just clipped, but I did go pee and I did go get another beer.
We're just going to see the cut and the beer's just going to be full again.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, I don't know if anybody's watching this, look how precarious this beer is. I would not ever. I'm too nervous to ever trust something like that to hold like a beer where there's like not enough space on either side.
Oh, I live in the edge, man.
Look at this. I got a water 6 inches in on the table. Even that's making me nervous enough.
Don't worry, it's not near any equipment. You're fine. But you're right. This could easily be a disaster, just like that.
Oh no, I'm not trying to tell you to move it. It's just you're a braver man than I.
I'm drinking right now. That's why.
Oh.
So, Chris, you're on sober month here. What brought that up?
Well, a lot of my friends are sober right now, and I've always been lucky where I've never had like a problem with like drugs or alcohol or anything like that.
Pretty young, you don't know your future.
Yeah, exactly. But even like with a lot of my younger friends, like it's like a lot of them maybe have had problems or they're working through it or things like that. But I've been lucky enough in my life where I've only ever been like a very social drinker or like social drug user, and so when nobody else is doing it, it's kind of like a time for me where I can just be like, yeah, you know what? No point in drinking. Nobody else is. I'm just going to take this time to kind of relax, kind of tone things down. It's better to not drink or smoke or anything like that. So,
yeah, like health wise, it's absolutely a paradox. Like I'm into fitness and training, but the smoking and drinking, it makes no sense to that set of goals. But again, that's the beauty of being human. We have all these paradoxes that we don't even fucking understand why it is what it is. I mean. But I mean, like it's. I mean, some people need to be hammered just to, I don't know, like, not have anxiety and whatnot.
Totally.
You know? And like, I wouldn't say I'm one of those. I just like it.
No, totally. And the thing is, you know what?
I own a bar.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have a drink or two.
Yeah, you know.
But that's the thing is, I think for some people, it is as simple as just like, oh, I can have a couple drinks, or I can smoke some weed, or even I can like do some drugs recreationally. But for some people, some people just can't.
Well, it's because they're traumatized, probably, and every time it just
possibly
brings up some crazy shit, and then they're bad time for everyone else. I don't know.
I think that's part of it. You know what else though? I think drugs and alcohol are just too fun. I think that's one of the issues, right?
Moderation, right?
Yeah,
that should be the key.
That's the thing is, I think moderation's easy when you're sober. I think it's very easy to be like, I can go out and have 2 drinks because you're like, logically, 2 drinks is good. It's going to cost me $12, $13, whatever. I'm going to have a good time, going to get maybe even a very small buzz going. But then you have your 2 drinks and you're like, well, I could have 2 more.
Yeah.
Because logically, it's going to be cool and fun. And then you get 2 more and you're like, well, I got to have 5 more and a shot right now. So I agree. I think that moderation is super important with it. But I think it also kind of goes out the window the second you start doing anything.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like you either do it or you don't. I personally just have a off button or all in button in my brain. Like,
that's good though. I think it's a good thing to have though.
When I just brought moderation, I don't have moderation at all. I'm either out or I'm in. Like that's just simple as that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but I love podcast days for me because I enjoy having a drink, talking to people. This is exactly why I did this.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a drink.
It's fucking
and especially
wicked. It's great.
Especially for the people who don't have any problems with liquor or don't have any problems with drugs or alcohol or anything just like that. It is a good time.
Liquor's not my true vice. Like I can do without. So that's the nice thing.
What would you say your true one is if you'll indulge?
And then I'm gonna cut that. No, I'll tell you off the air.
Okay, sounds good. You don't have to tell me. I was just
No,
always
I'll tell you,
curious.
man. Like,
I'll tell you. For me, it's I like to. I haven't in a long time, but I do like to every now and then dabble in a psychedelic or two.
Been there, man. Been there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
actually, still there. Love psychedelics. Big fan of psychedelics. Did the hero dose, the big mushroom trip, 7-gram mushroom dose. Talked about this many times in the pod already. Recommend everyone do it. It's harmless. No one's going to die. No one in the history of everyone doing it is going to die, despite what you think is happening while it's happening. You're not going to die. The people who apparently said they died from it, I don't like. All coroner reports have shown like they also were basically on opioids and other shit. Like,
same with weed. You can't overdose on weed. You can die of things related to it.
Yeah,
just like anything else, right? You can die of smoking and driving. You can die of like choking on your own vomit, and I'm sure you could with mushrooms or any other psychedelic. But
with the mushroom in particular, I just say, okay, look, this is the way you should do it. Okay, just fine. Give yourself. Okay, again, this is not actual promoted advice. It's not promoted advice. It's just two guys talking. There's just two guys talking to Shawn's opinion, and this opinion is alleged. Anyway,
exactly.
Yeah, no. Anyway, I would say the mushroom thing. Okay, I would say because this is basically the way I allegedly did it. It's like you want to take a whole week off from everything and just sleep real well. Okay, we're talking about whatever your sleep requirements is. If it's 8, 10, 6, like get that. You want to drink a lot of water, eat a lot of good food. And when I say good food, like for me anyway, it was just lean proteins, good fats, moderate your carbs, right? So as an example, it would be like a steak with like a handful of rice. And then it might be like a chicken with like a little bit of pasta. Or it might be some like pork dry rib type things. And that's it. And then, some vegetables as well, like carrot, celery, things like that. You want something like that. Okay. Then you want to work out. You want to be like as healthy as you can be. All right. And then with no liquor, and then you just go for it. You go into your house or your place, wherever you take that 7 grams, you chew it up, and make sure you start at a time that makes logical sense for at least a whole day to go by. So, because my high was 17 hours, man, straight up. I remember putting the clock on. I was like, okay, it is 7 p.m. And then it went all the way to whatever it was, like 11 a.m. the next day. And I remember it coming down. I was just in my condo, but that experience, like a lot of me was walking around the place, tripping out, laying on my bed, looking at the roof, going to my patio, which that part I think was dangerous in hindsight because I live on the 9th floor. So, but I remember merging with the universe, understanding that we are all at least like unless this was not understood, but the feeling I had was understanding we're all one consciousness for sure.
Yeah, that was exactly my experience.
Branched into little sub categories called Shawn and Chris Wipf, and but if you can just tap out of the that individual part, which I'm gonna label like an ego, like thinking you're actually this individual being, it's a trick because the only thing around it is the consciousness, and even that thing, it's like when you shine a mirror into a mirror, you see those unlimited mirrors going down, like. Yeah. There's actually unlimited layers of the observer, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but the key is not to keep trying to get to the end of which is the observer, thinking you're at the very beginning or whatnot. I'm sorry, I'm starting to go on ranting.
No, I understand. I actually understand.
But it's like just pick any mirror and realize that is the one watching. So that one thing is what we all are, because we actually are one thing, and that one thing is misconstrued as God. And then in that God theory, though, at the end of the day, it still matters that you try to do what you are with the individual, because that is your story being played out from that one consciousness, like a video game, choosing that character.
Yeah.
But basically, with this kind of understanding, it's tricky and hard, but you got to realize everything in the end is okay, because death is actually merging back into the consciousness. And but at the same time, then some people might be like, well, that's kind of a fucking asshole way to look about it, because you're saying someone like Hitler didn't go to a hell. And you're like, I'm just saying, like, it's in the end, Hitler, like, it's like Hitler and Gandhi are actually the same entity.
Yeah.
Well, playing a role in a story.
The way that I've always seen it,
I might need to cut that out because people are going to be like,
no. I got
telling me that didn't actually happen. Like, I'm like, no, don't risk. Like,
No,
I'm
but
just
I
saying
get it.
there's a lot more deepness to this thing, man. Like,
So the way that I said it was very similar, not exactly the same, but it was the
what did you
whole one
take?
consciousness. I've done both shrooms and LSD.
Oh, okay. Like at the same time? I've never done
No,
LSD.
never at the same time. That
Okay,
would be.
okay. How many grams of shrooms?
I think 3.
That's still a pretty good dose.
Still pretty good
Yeah,
dose.
yeah, How high were you? Like how many hours?
Probably 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
Maybe 6.
yeah.
It
It was still deep. Like you're.
Oh
Like,
yeah, still pretty good. I didn't hallucinate at all. It was just enough to get to like the edge where I probably, if I would have taken any more, I probably would have. But I was just at the point where I was just like thinking lots.
I wouldn't say I was hallucinating. I thought what I saw was real. Like I was talking to my cat, man. Like Chan. Like she at the time was like we full on explaining like, hi, like you're a great dad. I love you. And I was just like, whoa.
That's a good time.
And then the cat was just looking back like, I have everything I need. Thank you for being my dad. And I was just loving the conversation. And then I also felt like what it was like to be a woman. I remember all of a sudden I emerged and became my ex-girlfriend for a second, being like, hi, Shawn. Well, you let me down here. You couldn't understand why. And
you ever have a good cry on shrooms?
I don't remember crying because I think I'm just too manly for that. But no, I'm just...
I do every time. And it's like...
I'm joking, Chris. Of course I cried.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and it's a good cry.
Yeah, well, it's like I just felt so bad because like I've spent so many years blaming the ex for like ending the things, and then when on the shrooms I realized, holy fuck, I didn't make you feel safe here because of my whining and complaining. I didn't show like I had zest for my own life because I hated my job. I didn't even realize like I was blowing up your phone because subconsciously my ego wouldn't even let me like accept that I was being insecure just because I didn't hear from you for 20 hours. Like, it's just shit like that. And I was like, wow, like without the shrooms, I could not have had the humility to like look at it from her perspective.
Yeah.
It's like, that's an example from that, but there was like 17 hours of stories in there that,
totally,
but the weird thing though, Chris, is like, the more years go by, because I've only done the hero dose twice because it's so intense. Like I also have a business to run now. I don't have time to
take a week,
take a day.
Yeah,
totally. Week. Yeah. But what's the weird thing is it wears off still. Because I found that months later, I remember this one time I was like, fuck man, I'm so profound now. I'll never have a bad day again. No, not true. Like fucking XYZ happened. I literally forgot my whole spiritual experience. And I was back to being Joe Schmo going through shit. And then it takes like someone reminding me from in my mind to jumpstart back into like, remember the mushroom trip? Yeah. So
that's why I think people do the microdosing thing, right? That's I did it for a while, and it was good. Like you could literally microdose. You don't even know that you're like it's enough where you don't even feel it, but you just feel better that day, and you feel a lot more mindful. And you feel a lot more, at least for me, I felt a lot more calm and a lot more focused.
Are you on it right now?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't microdosed in a while. I probably should again because it's a good time. But
I've never microdosed. I've only went for the big splash. So
yeah, you can buy I think it's like $30. You get a month worth of tablets.
Okay.
And yeah, you just microdose.
Do you perform high or anything? Never. Okay.
No, I did by accident once, and it was I will never do it again.
On weed or
on weed. So I used to when I first started comedy, I would.
You're wearing weed pants, by the way.
Yeah, I know. They're my favorite. They're comfy, but it was my. So I used to take CBD edibles before I got on stage every time.
Okay.
Like from literally the second time I ever did, or probably the first time actually I ever did it. I would take CBD edibles, not the ones that would get you high, just the ones that would relax you, get the anxieties out.
Yeah.
And then. The 6 months happened where everything was shut down, started back up. I started bringing CBD gummies again, and then I forgot them one time. And I was like, you know what? I'm an hour early. I'm going to go to that weed shop right across the street. I'm going to get myself some CBD edibles, so I'll be good for the show. And so I went across the street. I got them. I ate them. I went back into the bar, and I was sitting down, and I was up 7th. And by the second person, I was like, I'm feeling pretty high. I was like, I don't know how. They're CBD edibles. And I checked the package, and they were just regular edibles. They just handed me regular edibles, and I did stand up high.
Oh my god!
And it was just the worst. It was the worst time.
Scared as fuck up there.
I was terrified. I still got my jokes out and everything like that. And in reality, it probably wasn't a big deal, but it felt awful. And then like a couple times, I've had like a drink or two, and then got on stage, and I just my sets require me to talk really fast without screwing up words, especially during like some of my faster bits. And I just get my tongue twisted a ton.
Okay.
So I don't drink and I don't do any drugs before getting on stage.
I guess that's good. I mean, everyone has their own methods, and like most of the pros, they seem to have gotten out of their drunk phase anyway. Like they can do it sober now.
Some of them,
you know,
some of them still like.
Well, so Theo Von, for example, apparently he's super sober, right?
Yeah.
And then, but there's loads of clips of him back in the day, like
doing
on the internet,
on shrooms. Have you seen that clip?
I didn't see that one, but I
That
saw
was pretty
one where
crazy.
I should look it up. But there was one where I was just like, "What the fuck's going on here?" Like, you know, he's clearly so high on like blow and whatever, you know, and like it was just like, but yeah, no, I was gonna ask you about. Okay, hold on. Let me sort out my thoughts in real time. This drink is now destroying my memory. Yeah, no, I lost my train of thought, Chris.
That'll happen.
Yeah, no, I do want to. I like separate topic now altogether. But do you have a regular job right now, or do you like? Okay, yeah. Wait a minute, that's right. You told me you work for it's like a nutritious ice cream factory. Wait,
yeah. So we make the world's first high protein ice cream bar.
Okay. And what's that place called again?
Lift Bar.
Lift Bar. Okay, sweet. What do you do there?
I'm a sales guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like, do you try to convince like 7-Eleven to carry it, kind of thing, or like?
Less so 7-Eleven. For like a number of reasons that nobody cares about. But like small scale grocery, independent grocery, health food stores.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute, Lift Bar. I have seen that fucking shit around.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. Oh, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, black packaging. It's like black on black.
Okay, and it's like a LYFT bar.
No, LIFT.
What the fuck?
LYFT is that? It's the very similar logo because it's just the name of it. It's like similar to Uber.
Oh, okay. Screw. Like, jeez. Okay. Well,
but you've seen like it's getting to be the point where like people have like been like, I think I've seen that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. And then all right, so what's the what's the plan right now as far as your actual, like, do you plan, is comedy priority one and then Lift Bar is just kind of like supplementing it, or are you just kind of playing by ear, because you're also like super young, man, like 23. It's like, you know, like you're a baby, man.
I know. I'm actually going back to school in January.
Oh, sweet.
I'm taking 2 diplomas at SAIT. I'm taking video and film production.
Okay.
And then I'm taking TV broadcast and radio with a TV focus production.
Okay.
And the reason I'm taking both of those is for a lot of comics that end up doing stand-up full-time, a lot of them end up doing other stuff on the side. So a lot of people end up in writing, whether that's writing for TV, writing for film, that sort of thing. A lot end up in even just like the back behind the scenes TV production, movie production sort of things.
Yeah.
Like I know tons and tons of comics who work in those two industries. So they both work out really well with comedy, and they're both stuff that I'm interested in. Like I love entertainment. I think it's really cool. If I obviously stand up is the dream. If I could do stand up full time and make a good living off that, that's what I want to do. But it's always good to have some backup just in case, you know.
Mm-hmm. So the school, is that going to take up a lot of your time then? Because you're
a little bit of it for sure, but between working on the weekends and doing some event hosting stuff and then doing comedy, I've mathed it out. I should be able to do fine in terms of income.
Okay, sweet.
Like hosting trivias, hosting like Name That Tunes, things like that. I'm hosting speed dating now too.
Oh, hey, I want to talk to you about that.
I can get you in on it.
Like let's host a speed dating event here at Kaks.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, fucking. Man, law of attraction once again, man. I'm being serious. I literally wrote it down and manifested. Now you're sitting here bringing it up. I'm being serious. So
yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Okay, well, fuck, let's make it happen. I didn't realize like my podcast guest at the same time is going to be the guy I'm calling to set that up here. That's fucking awesome, man. And I feel like our venue's great for that. You know,
no, it's perfect.
You know, those things are kind of entertaining to watch.
They're entertaining to watch, and I feel like I've only hosted one so far. I'm hosting another on the 17th. But like the people there aren't even just there to like meet their partner or whatever. They're there to have a good time. Like it's like, and it's really good because it's a lot of people who maybe aren't like so good at talking to people of the opposite gender, right? Or maybe they are, and they just don't have time, or maybe they work in a field, because like the majority of people meet their partners in like workplaces or in like school or like
organically, right?
Yeah, organically. Like nobody's really like going out to the bar by themselves as much anymore. Like some people still do, obviously, and it's really awesome to see that, because I think that being able to approach people is a huge skill on its own.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't doing it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been in bars in my whole adult life, and I just found like,
Well, no. All I'm saying is like the guy who goes to the bar to try to pick up chicks never gets chicks, and the girl who
Never.
goes to the bar to pick up a guy never really gets the quality guy he's looking for. It's like I find that bars you should be going there like the way we genuine like unapologetic like biased plug here, but at Kaks like because like the owners Cass and myself, like we're here so often, like we want this to be almost like a clubhouse. Like come here just to hang out sometimes. Like,
Totally.
like you should come here just because you want to be here. And it's like fun. It's like a little check stop for you to get drinks and some food, and or just watch the game or see what's going on for the events. And it's like we welcome as many people as we can anyway. Don't get me wrong. There's been the odd weirdo now that has to be taken out of the mix or whatever. But
Totally. But that's any bar.
that's any bar. But like that's why. And then natural hooking up occurs from there. But if you go in like a predator, like oh god, I better find my fucking lover here.
No, it's
Like everyone can smell that.
Totally.
You don't want to do that. And I've been guilty of that too in my earlier days.
Everybody has.
Yeah. So it's like. But when you learn from it, and yeah, you don't want that. But speed dating, you're telling me because like they all come there with the same intent to try to find someone to try to match. But
that's not even.
but you're saying it's not even like that now.
It's that's a part of it, obviously, but it's like the people that come out. I feel like it's very fun to watch and be a part of because they're very like. There's a lot of people who are kind of like, especially with work from home, right? There's a lot of people who don't get out a whole lot.
That's right.
And they're getting to like talk to people and have conversations. And it's extremely interesting to watch that like even people who don't get any matches, they'll come back like week after week because they enjoy having the conversations with people.
That's their social area.
Yeah, and it's super, super interesting because like it's people who are like I said, maybe they're not the most socially adept people, but they're like learning it. And it's so cool to see that.
That's the
like,
positive ones, though. I'm sure there's some weirdos that show up to those things,
Sometimes, but I feel like that sort of thing sorts itself out, right? And even the people who are like, when we say weirdos, it's usually people who are creepy, right? That's usually what we're saying.
A pervert.
Yeah, exactly. But even with those people, right? Like those people probably aren't going to get any matches, and people like that probably aren't going to come again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're like just somebody who's like shy and nervous and you go and you talk to people and maybe you don't get any matches, but you had some really good conversations, you're probably going to want to go again. But if you're like just there to try and hook up with people and it's very obvious and you get no matches, you're going to be like, oh, this is a waste of my time, waste of my money, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're kind of going to move on. So I think that for sure the idea of it definitely does probably draw in some weirdos that way. But I think for the most part, you're probably, especially with repeat people, you're probably getting people who are actually there for good intentions, which I really like.
But they can't come there all the time because that means they have no luck finding their mate. If they're there every day for 2 years straight, that defeats the purpose of speed dating because like it just means it's like, well, I still haven't found love, but I'm definitely enjoying this process. And I'm also getting lots of sex from random girls, whatever, so because speed dating, you're supposed to be finding love, right? Like not hooking up, right?
I mean, I think people are there for different reasons. Okay. But I think like, at least the stuff that I've hosted, it's like 8-minute dates. So you get an 8-minute date with each person. You go like 2 groups of 10 people. Everyone meets with each other. And I think...
Do people ever... Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say like... has there ever been a disaster where you see someone just like fall super in love right away in 8 minutes and he's like literally can't focus on meeting anyone else and then almost has to like derail a table and be like, I need to spend more time with you here. Like, like
I haven't seen that. I've definitely heard of stuff like that. Just like maybe not to that degree, but for sure people who are like talking about previous dates with other people.
Yeah.
Like I've heard about stuff like that, but I mean, like I said, the time that I've done it has been like, it was nothing but positive. And it's cool because they do like different age ranges and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'll be doing like a different age range on the next Friday. I think I'm doing 35 to 45.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. The last one I think was like late 20s to early 30s.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck, man. Okay, well, we're absolutely talking off air about this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, I just brought my example because of I don't know, man. Like I don't know. Maybe let me think about what I'm about to say here about what I think I want. Well, what I'm trying to say, but okay, it's like I'm engaged right now, and like I love my fiance, and like we're like fucking like she's my best friend, and everything like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, no relationship super perfect, but I would say like it's I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, okay, like this glove fits so well. Like what the fuck did I do like have this compatibility. But man,
Yeah.
if I met her in speed dating, I think I'd be like, I don't know, like I would just be like, hey, like there's no need to see anyone else here. Like extend this date to fucking 20, like or just let's just leave together, you know. And I'm pretty sure she would do the same thing or whatever, you know. And it just to see her like whatever, like like do 20 more days, just be wasting every fucking time, you know. I don't know. Like I'm just saying, have you seen some like serious right off the jump like compatibility? And then
there's a couple daters when I did it that you could very much tell that they were like that they wanted more time with specific people for sure. And like even the time that I did, like there was people after speed dating who didn't even wait for like matches to be submitted or anything like that. They were just like, hey, do you want to go grab a drink after this?
Yeah.
And like went off together.
Okay. Sweet.
So you definitely do see that. And I'm sure that like I think it's just kind of a different way to meet people, right? Because like I was lucky enough, I'm in a long-term relationship. I didn't really have to brave the apps as much as a lot of people that I know. But I've heard it's not a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never used those myself. Like I met my girl pretty organically at a church, as Jocko says. I'm not religious. So church means bar. You know,
we're gonna say I don't take you for a religious man.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty spiritual. I believe in God.
Well, I think there's spirituality in religion.
I'm not part of a formal religion, you know. Yeah. But
other than Scientology, of course.
Yeah, of course, that goes without saying.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we already know that.
Tom Cruise, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, or whatever the fuck he does all the time. Excessive positivity and then like a maniacal laughter.
Yeah.
Fuck. Hey Chris, I'm going to wind this down here.
Totally.
I really enjoy talking to you here. Obviously,
yeah,
you're the man. I love having you perform here, and I'm sure we'll be doing another podcast together again. Like whether it's Laughs at Kaks or just this, or if you do your own podcasts and things, which I really believe you should. You have a great, articulate voice, and literally you should have your own podcast, man. Like,
I'd like to. I honestly really would, and I think down the road I definitely will. The thing is, there's so many podcasts. I just want to have something to stand out with. You know
right. You're right. Yeah, like it's podcasts now are like Instagram pages. Everyone has one, you know.
Yeah.
But it's your like I know why I'm doing this. It's because of this, man. Like when else would we have sat down and chatted like this?
Yeah,
probably not.
Well, you really don't have like hour-long conversations with people.
No,
you know what I mean? Unless you're like pretty fucked up.
Or you're at the bar, but
you're at the bar.
The thing is different because you're in the bar still, and like
and then you're all about impressing the other person. You're like, oh well, this is how many ladies I've been with, or whatever.
They're usually trying to impress me, but anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. You get it though. It's just like at a bar, it's such a different conversation. So it is really nice to have like a sit down and just talk about.
But that's why I think everyone should have podcasts. Like you're like unless your intent is to like try to find a way to make a living off of it. You know, like us personally, like we just love this concept, because our main revenue is just selling food and drinks.
Totally.
This thing as it grows organically, and I get to like people don't realize like this conversation. You're like I took away so much, you know, and every time I talk to people, I take away so much, and I'm like, well, everyone should podcast because you're setting up a true one-on-one conversation, and it's like whether you're like if you're not trying to just make money off of it, you should still do it anyway because it's like. It's just a great way to bond and really understand someone else, you know, and have yourself understand yourself too, you know, because again, like when else would you be this? I don't know. Everyone's so ADD. Like when else would we be fucking really dialed in talking like this?
No, literally never.
Never. Not even your best friend. Think about it. Like, is it really ever like this?
No, never.
Never, right? Exactly. Okay, all Chris Wipf's information will be in the show notes there. You can catch him doing stand-up comedy, doing speed dating, and he performs at Laughs at Kaks, and yeah, Chris, you got anything to say or anything to closing remarks, like dates or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got a cool date I could plug.
Yeah,
December 1st at Calgary Heritage Roasting Society. I've got Comedy. That's the show that I run. I've got a special guest performance from the States. George Ridgden, he's coming up. Musical comic, lots of crowd work, super fun. He's probably going to check out some other shows, hopefully Kaks while he's in town. But if you want to see him do a half hour that you're not going to see him do anywhere else, come on by, get some tickets in my Instagram bio. It's going to be a great time. And we will. That's pretty much the biggest one I have to plug. So that's what I've got.
Sweet. Very good. Laughs at Kaks Comedy Show every Thursday at Kaks Bar and Podcast. Doors open at 7 p.m. Show starts at 8 p.m. Runs roughly to 9:30. Sometimes they start at 8:30 and run roughly at 10. It's kind of in that range. It's only $5. It goes all to comics, support local comedy. And that's it. So that's really good. All right, Chris. Fuck yeah. I'm going to talk to you more off the air here.
Sounds good.
Bye, everyone.